Hello and welcome to the Face of Pro-Life. Today I'm speaking with Friar Roderic Burke from the Franciscanfriars of the Immaculate. Thank you so much for joining us today, Friar Roderic.
It's good to be here.
I know you're heavily involved in a wonderful website called AirMaria at airmaria.com.
Right.
And I know you guys have wonderful videos posted. Could you give us a little taste of some of the things that you have posted on your website?
Well, yeah, we have basically videos we put up on the internet, and that's how it started, and that's really how it's continuing. And it consists of, mostly short ones, the kind of things you see on YouTube. And,
right. For us people who have short attention spans.
Right. So that's the idea, is that it's made for the next generation. So our goal is to get involved in that and build up a growing number of shows that would, give someone an alternative, basically, to some of the less dubious, more dubious things on the internet. So we are doing that. Mostly, we have a homily every day from our chapel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of our main staples, and then we should do one other video each day, either from the Face of Pro-Life here, or other shows that we do as far as little prayers or anything like that. So.
Now, you're not really giving your website enough flavor, because you have so many things on there. I know that you've had the different interviews with many people in the pro-life movement, like some of the people that you have interviewed, I'm not blanking on her name. Was it
Gianna Jessen?
Gianna Jessen, right?
Right.
She's the young woman who her mother tried to abort her.
Right.
And she lived to tell. And she's a beautiful young girl. She's a beautiful voice, and she loves to go around singing. So, I mean, that's a huge, she's very popular in the pro-life movement, and you guys have managed to interview her.
Right.
You had interviewed Roe from Roe versus Wade.
Right.
So you interviewed her when she was at UConn.
Right.
You have interviewed some of the other. Did you interview Father Pavone?
Yes, I did. Father Pavone and Father. I forgot his name, and from the HLI.
Oh, now I'm gonna blank now. Just keep talking.
Yes, there's too many
people.
We've Abby Johnson was another one we interviewed down in Washington, D.C. And she was not only very prominent, but in the pro-life field, but she also became a Catholic. So she went from being a pro-abortion manager at a pro Planned Parenthood office,
right,
to ended up being Protestant, and then an anti Planned Parenthood, and then became Catholic.
Yeah, she's very celebrated in the pro-life movement because of her conversion from, like you said, a director of a Planned Parenthood office to an adamant pro-life advocate. So yeah, that's huge. That's a huge person to have.
It is huge.
Scored an interview with. And I know that it's Father Utenauer that's
right.
From HLI. He's a great person too to have been able to speak with and meet. Now I know another great honor that you guys experienced this summer was going to World Youth Day in Spain. How did you guys score that?
Well, we basically found people who were able to finance the plane tickets to get there, which is the biggest hurdle. And then, but our whole goal was to make videos of the whole event, and it was really an amazing event. So amazing, it was almost we weren't really prepared too well for it, because it was about 1.5 million people who came. So
wow.
This is youth. So there's no event that is bigger than this,
right?
And one that involves a youth going to a religious event is unheard of.
Sure.
So this is one of the largest events in the world, and especially when it happens so regularly as this, and happens in different places every year. There's some other places like some like in Hindu religion. There's some pilgrim places that have some larger events. But nothing that, it's just different place every year, and yet draws over 1 million people every time of youth.
What was it like to be there?
It was amazing, a lot of energy. All the, they always get worn out just looking at these kids when you're on a train, even at midnight, and all of a sudden this pack of Christians pack aboard this train and are doing the chants and the almost like a pep rally in the train. So we're crammed into, often got crammed into one of the metro buses or metro trains, and there's no room to breathe, and everyone's a lot of energetic youth.
But the only ones complaining are the friars, right?
No. Well, it's so inspiring that you couldn't get upset about it because it's just so inspiring. And then only at the end we were just saying, "Wow, this is after 5 days of this, it was you're ready to take a big long vacation."
You didn't take any 5-hour energy with you, apparently.
Right.
Now, so what types of interviews did you do, or videos did you post from World Youth Day?
Most of them were just capturing all the different displays of zeal of the youth and the different numbers of flags there were from different countries. So you had millions of people, and they're all from different countries. And they're all waving flags, not all of them, but there's every 20th person has a flag. You have 1 million people out there. It makes quite an ocean of flags, and the Pope comes through. He's basically going through a sea of people and flags, and they're all waving, and the hot summer sun, and we older friars were passing out, but the kids were just dancing and yelling and screaming, and
so the Pope got a good reception.
He really did. I mean, there he was, this 80-year-old man plus, and all his youth that are just starting off and are supposedly not interested in religion are all there because of religion and because of this great event. And when I say we're unprepared for it, what I noticed when I was there, and when I go on the internet, there is very little coverage from the press.
Yeah.
Very little.
You would hardly even know it was going on.
Yeah, and I mean, here's this great event. It's the most incredible phenomenon in the world, and the press is ignoring it.
I know. There's a couple thousand people occupying Wall Street,
right?
And that's got news press all 24/7.
Or there's 1,000 people at one protest during this event that were anti, John Pope Benedict, anti-Pope visit, and so they're saying, oh, it costs too much money. I mean, good heavens, you look at the figures, and it was, I think 96% of the cost was covered by the entrance fees, the registration fees of the people who came. And then a good portion of that was covered by that was not covered by that, was covered by the direct donations by businesses that actually want this to happen. And so they made, so if businesses were willing to donate for that, obviously they're going to
because they're going to make a ton of money from all the visitors.
And they still complain that, the costs that aren't known because it might be like ambulances that are used that aren't included in the cost. And I'm saying, well, that's true, but that's the case with any big event. And if you're any event that would make money, any kind of a sporting event, any kind of and of course all the benefits are equally not known, And so you're it was just a ridiculous argument. And totally missing the beautiful spirit here. I mean, here you are walking through a sea of people, ocean, and very energetic people, and very good people. Mm-hmm. I mean, you go to a rock concert and it's just they're kind of nasty, And here we have this wonderful outpouring of energy and spirit and prayerfulness. 1.5 million attending a mass out in the hot sun after being awake all night, pretty much. You had sleeping bags sleeping, but let's face it, most of these kids were more interested in walking around and talking to all these other people from around the world. You know?
I mean, what an experience, you know, I mean, to be that young and to, you know, interact with teens from all over the world.
Yeah, people praying the rosary in different languages. It was in Spanish, and which is where it was. So it was they outnumbered as far as flags, so they won the flag contest. And then, but probably second to them was well, maybe America was second, but Brazil was way up there.
Wow. So and then that's where they're going to have it next time.
And France and Italy also were very large because they were right next door to Spain. And but it was just this incredible international, looked like the Olympics in a Catholic sense, you know.
The Catholic Olympics.
Catholic Olympics really was. You know, you had some 20,000 volunteers from the Spanish community nearby. They're all young people spending gobs of hours in a very difficult task. For free, you know, and they're just.
And how do they keep the youth focused? I mean, they can't just have them sitting out on the square and waiting for the Pope. What else did they do with the kids?
Well, they had different prayer times. At night, it was pretty much that everyone was just doing what they want to do, and it was all very calm. It wasn't. You would think that it would be out of control in a sense, but it wasn't. And people were out there, and there's some people that are doing. You know, we're playing the guitar and singing religious songs, or there was adoration chapels that were at various places in the around the perimeter of the event. So Fra Roderic, our main cameraman, went out with his habit on, and he had his vest on. And the vest was hooked to this robotic, not a robotic arm, but kind of like a spring-loaded arm that has this Steadicam on it. So it's very fancy. It looks like a RoboCop, you know, with his camera, and it's and so he's going wearing his medieval habit, but wearing this very modern techno robot friar outfit on. So he made quite the
draw a lot of attention.
Yeah, drew a lot of attention. Made quite a statement of something. But he went around and videotaped all these events, all these little even at night. So so going around and seeing all these people doing various prayers or just talking. Ran into some nuns that gave a little testimony. Ran past the Adoration Chapel with all these teenagers in the middle of the night praying. And so all of this was going on, and the mass media really ignored it. So what we have to do next time, I think, is really hit it with some better coverage of. They had some good internet access there, so maybe they'll have the same thing in Brazil for next time, 2 years from now. And
now, is it possible to go on AirMaria and you know, watch a video and like it to Facebook? I mean, can you share it to Facebook?
I could. We have a Facebook account, and we have an automatic sort of a link to it that puts everything we put on AirMaria. A truncated copy gets sent to Facebook and Twitter.
And then you can share it with your, you know, other people can share it with their friends, so that
all of Facebook,
we can spread this coverage.
Yeah, all of Facebook stuff can be covered like that, and we could, you know, in fact, do it live. And we're our Italian friars were intending to do that, and they were involved with the Vatican and with the communications department for the Madrid event. But unfortunately, some other aspects did not work out. So that was unfortunate. That was one of our main you know, things we wanted to do there. So the fact that did not work out meant we weren't really prepared for doing a more
live stream.
Internet blog, basically, of different videos. So we want to get different videos ready and made and put up on the internet in quick succession.
Right.
That was not possible because we were already we're going to get over something else.
But you still do have some things posted on
That's right.
on AirMaria.
About the trip, yeah.
And so, like, besides the interviews of different pro-life people, our show, which is got its own little section. You can
right.
click on Face of Pro-Life and get
Right.
all the backlog shows. You could also have a section for World Youth Day, right?
Yeah, well, we have, that would be under our variety section because we don't have a whole lot of videos from that. Yeah, we do try to have a section for each one.
But that was a huge gift to be able to go
Right.
participate in that. And the one word that comes to mind when I just envision, you know, all these youth is hope.
Yes, there's plenty of hope there. That was a great shot in the arm because it was, first of all, you think of Europe as being not very religious anymore, and there's lots of evidence for that. And all of the numbers of the decreasing of numbers of people attending church. But here you had one of the largest World Youth Days that they've had.
Wow.
There was a larger one in the
Wow.
Philippines, but that was one of the largest ones. There's been some that have been about the same size, but that
Wow,
was still one of the
that really
largest.
is amazing. And,
Yeah.
and like you said, the secular media didn't even bother to
Didn't
cover it.
bother, right.
That is amazing.
Right. It's just clear. I'm not sure they're afraid if they're just you know, I'm not sure what they're afraid of. These youth are going to come and kill them or something like that. I'm not sure what it is, but it just didn't make any sense. I mean, you know, that you would think they're so sure of themselves with all the huge materialism that's out there,
Mm-hmm.
and they're really a materialistic machine that they are, and that at the heart of in this world. You would think that they would have no fear at all of a religious event.
Right, and really reporting what really is news.
Right.
Amazing
And
news.
yet they can't handle it. They
Yeah.
can't just come in with and just get some decent coverage of a great world event.
Now, why is it that, you know, like you say, the medieval friars, why is it that you're so involved in the media, and what, you know, what this doesn't seem...
Yeah, well, it's always turns a few heads when we have habit-clad cameramen. So that's a good. It helps draw attention. In fact, so and that's what's important in the mass media. But our inspiration came from St. Maximilian Kolbe, who was he lived in the 1930s, or has heyday in the 1930s, and he's in Poland, which is at that time not very well developed industrially or technologically, but it was near Germany, so they were able to get good equipment from Germany as long as they were able to get money to do so. And he basically built this, started off small and showed what he can do with a little bit, and then people donated money, and he's able to build on, and he ended up being the largest mass media organization in Poland.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, he was larger than anyone else as compared to, say, you know, the New York Times was compared to anything else back in this heyday. So the New York Times was, in Poland, was his organization.
Wow.
He was the, you know, he outdid all the secular mass media.
And so his whole mission was to use the media
Right.
to perpetuate the faith.
That's right. And it was basically our promoting devotion to Our Lady in the Franciscan light. So he was a Franciscan and very Marian. So he promoted the devotion to Mary, and it was very amazing the effect he had, because we think of Poland as being so very Catholic, and really he was the one who had a lot to do with that.
Wow.
Wow. And he influenced John Paul II and Cardinal Wyszynski, who was so effective at you know, preventing the communists or even the Nazis from getting a foothold in Poland, and and the results of what happened in Poland were very different from what happened in say Russia or Czechoslovakia or any of the many other Eastern Bloc countries that had the misfortune of having the communists rule them.
So was he a saint because he had a newspaper?
Well, he certainly his spirituality resulted in success, I think, and on a natural level. But then, of course, on a spiritual level, was even more productive. You know, as far as. But he was a very prayerful person, and so all the activity didn't really affect his ability to pray, and he made sure that was not a problem for his friars as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they were able to maintain a high level of activity for a long time and remain close to our Lord.
And he was martyred.
And he was martyred, right?
That helps.
In Auschwitz, right?
Yeah. So he
saving another person. He actually saved the life of a person by asking the commandant to step forward in the middle of the call to execute people, and he stepped forward. I'll take the place of that guy right there. And the commandant was or the captain of that group was so surprised that he actually did that. He took St. Maximilian Kolbe in place of this other person.
Who had children. And
right.
felt that he needed to be alive for his kids.
That person survived until quite recently, actually.
Wow. Wow. I mean, it's just amazing. He has his amazing story. And so you used the same idea that we perpetuate the faith by using the media, right, which is often misused.
Every illicit means. And that's what the popes have been talking about, too, that we need to do more of this. This goes way back to Leo XIII, and then, more recently Pius XII and John Paul II, and of course Benedict XVI were also the same thing, that we have to get out there as Catholics and use the mass media.
Right.
And that makes sense. Unfortunately, it hasn't been done that well, of course, with the exception of Mother Angelica, who was also great inspiration. That she's also Franciscan. The poor Clare is the second order of Franciscans, and the Franciscans of the Eternal Word there.
So she started a international television station, and she also uses the radio. And a lot of her programs are on the radio. And besides the internet, you guys are branching out into the radio as well.
That's right. We're trying to get into FM radio. So that's basically using EWTN's feed. So we get basically free programming. We have we're trying to get 6 stations going. We might. I think we're going to be successful getting at least 5 going. We already have 3 operating, and 4 is our next big project. The 4th is our next big project. So we have.
And where are these radio stations?
Well, one's in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Another one's in near Binghamton, New York. Another one's in Bloomington, Indiana. And we have a 4th we're trying to get going in Pawcatuck, Connecticut.
Woo!
So that'd be near our current friary. Yes.
Yeah. So and being that I'm in Massachusetts now, we have 2 radio stations that are available to us. Pretty much the same programming, because it's either through Ave Maria Radio or EWTN, and I can tell you it is such a blessing to listen to the Mass on the way to coming home from taking my kids to school, and the homilies are awesome on EWTN. Listening to the Divine Mercy at 3 o'clock when I go to pick them up, and all the different programming. It's really a really wonderful radio station. It really is. So I'm really anxious for our viewers in the Pawcatuck area to be able to receive the same blessings that we're receiving in Massachusetts, and all the other places that you guys are infiltrating.
Yeah. So our Bloomington one in Indiana is doing quite well. We have, it's probably our largest one, with about 2,000 watts. And that's hitting Bloomington, Indiana, which is the town that has the University of Indiana. about 40,000 students and many teachers. So it's very much of an intellectual hub of the country.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're really getting some exposure of the Catholic beliefs to some very important people, some very next generation.
I was recently in Michigan, and I had a rental car, and I was listening to EWTN. Well, actually, there it's Ave Maria radio exclusively, and I hit all the presets.
Ah, great.
So the next person's going to be hearing it too.
That's a good evangelization tool. To remember that one.
No, it's really wonderful programming, and the different shows that they have are just with Dr. Ray Guarendi and some of the I can't even think of all the names of the shows, but they are really great, high quality shows, and some of the local things too. Like we have a couple of good shows out of Boston, specifically. So it's a great tool.
It is a great tool, and all the mass media is. And I can really see a time when we can get more, gain the upper hand, basically, as compared to the secular mass media. But we have not found the formula yet, I don't think. But I don't think we should look in the recent lack of success relative to the secular mass media as foreclosing all or excluding any hope of achieving that, because it might require a miracle, but miracles do come.
Sure.
And we need to believe in that, and if it does happen, we can believe that there's a miracle did happen, because there's no natural reason to believe that it would happen. But nevertheless, you wouldn't think that what happened in Madrid would be naturally possible. So these are miracles that we shouldn't disregard, and we should be thankful for.
So you're looking forward to Brazil?
I am. I'm not sure if I'll be around. I hope to be able to go. It might be one of the largest ones ever. I mean, if the Philippines were 4 million people, I mean, here you have a country that's 300 million people, and Rio de Janeiro itself is one of the largest cities in the world, 10 million plus, I think, and a good percentage of those are Catholic. Yeah,
and a lot of the countries around them are very Catholic. Yeah. Yeah,
and it's just it'll just be a big event. I mean, everyone's going to want to go, and it's going to be. We'll have to give the mass media a prod or two to cover this one this time.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and for all the work that you do to spread the faith and the pro-life message. Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you go to airmaria.com and just surf around. There's a lot of good content. I swear you'll be there for a very long time. And like them, so that some of their newer things will be pushed to your Facebook page on a daily basis. We hope that when you look in the mirror the next time, you realize yours too is the face of pro-life. Please join us again next time.
Lucas Gerard.